Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow.
Yeah, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. But let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times has she had to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the show? And then she also, on Trump's win, calling the loss because of uneducated white women that Trump won.
We have to know that. This is accused.
All accused. Yeah, all accused, but he's in the RICO. This is a big RICO case that her husband's in.
Tom, what are your...
Sunny Hostin's world has been turned upside down as her husband becomes the center of a jaw-dropping $450 million RICO fraud investigation. The news alone is explosive, but Joe Rogan's reaction is what's setting the internet on fire. Never one to pull punches, Rogan tore into the scandal with his signature mix of brutal honesty, sharp wit, and unfiltered humor. One moment he's cracking jokes, the next he's diving deep into the legal chaos, turning the story into must-see commentary. His take? Savage, hilarious, and surprisingly insightful. As Rogan's breakdown racks up millions of views, all eyes have shifted to Sunny. The once unshakable TV host is under a microscope. Viewers are combing through every on-air appearance, searching for signs of stress, awkward pauses, forced smiles, nervous glances. Is she holding it together, or is the pressure starting to show? What started as a financial scandal is now a full-blown media circus. The drama, the commentary, the public reactions, it's all unfolding in real time. And Joe Rogan, he's not just watching from the sidelines, he's steering the conversation. With the internet buzzing and speculation rising, one thing's clear: this story is far from over, and the spotlight isn't shifting anytime soon.
Interesting, because I think Sunny is very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
You know, that's I think the other ones, there's a couple of the other ones, don't have to name any names, who are just very dull-minded. But I think Sunny's not one of them. I think she's smart, but captured.
Sure, I think she came into it with an agenda.
Of course.
You know,
they do everything with an agenda.
Strap in. This scandal is a wild ride packed with irony, headlines, and a hefty dose of real-life drama. When you hear $450 million RICO fraud case, you might picture mobsters in smoky back rooms, not the husband of Sunny Hostin. The polished legal analyst known for her sharp opinions and no-nonsense courtroom takes on daytime TV. But here we are. In a twist straight out of a legal thriller, Sunny now finds herself caught in the glare of a story that's more chaos than commentary. Her husband is reportedly involved in a massive fraud case that sounds less like news and more like the plot of a binge-worthy streaming series. And the irony? The woman who's usually breaking down high-profile legal sagas is suddenly standing just inches from one herself. Social media is already in overdrive, dissecting every clip, every comment, and every blink Sunny makes on screen. Is she staying? Composed? Cracking under pressure? The speculation is as intense as the headlines. For now, she's staying quiet, but in today's digital age, silence only fuels the fire. This isn't just another celebrity controversy, it's a full-blown spectacle. And whether she likes it or not, Sunny's not just a commentator anymore. She's part of the story.
I get it. I also hate Joy Behar. So I don't love you, but I also hate that squawking bird. So I hate the whole thing. And frankly, that show, you want to talk about a show that set women back, is The View. You want to talk about that show. If the CIA is engineering, Antifa and fucking the Capitol riot, some crazy misogynist engineered The View, because there's nothing worse than The View. In terms of, like, there are so many brilliant women out there. None of them are on The View.
Here's the scoop. Sunny Hostin's husband has just been hit with one of the most serious financial crime charges in recent memory. A massive, complex RICO case. For those unfamiliar, RICO stands for the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. In plain terms, it's the government's heavy-duty legal weapon, designed to dismantle organized crime rings and intricate criminal networks. This isn't just your run-of-the-mill white-collar fraud or a simple tax evasion scheme. This is major league. Charges that suggest a well-organized operation involving coordination, conspiracy, and multiple players working behind the scenes. When the government goes after someone with RICO, it's because they believe there's an ongoing criminal enterprise, not just a one-time slip-up. The headline alone is enough to shake things up, but the real impact could be even more far-reaching. This legal battle is a high-stakes storm with serious consequences that might ripple well beyond the courtroom. For Sunny Hostin and those involved, this isn't just another scandal, it's a game-changing crisis that demands close attention. The fallout from this case could reshape many lives, making it one of the most significant legal dramas of the moment.
But with that show has this very specific ideological bubble in which they operate in. You know, and they always bring on a token conservative woman and they yell over her and silence her. And, you know, they did that with Meghan McCain, and they did that with what is that other blonde woman from Survivor? Do you remember her, Jamie? She was always yelling. I mean, it's a bizarre show. I think the way before you start, I think the way you described it is brilliant, and the way we should all look at it. Of course, you're going to see race. The idea of being colorblind is ridiculous, but treat everybody. They're just human beings. Everybody's just individuals.
When your husband faces a staggering $450 million RICO charge, it's like being thrust into the middle of a financial apocalypse. No breaks, just non-stop chaos. The media storm was already intense, but then Joe Rogan entered the scene. Yes, that Joe Rogan, the podcast powerhouse, UFC commentator, and now the unfiltered voice tearing into this scandal with zero hesitation. Rogan didn't hold back. His reaction wasn't polite or measured. It was a full-blown roast. With the sharp wit of a seasoned stand-up and the blunt honesty of someone done with media spin, Rogan dismantled the whole situation piece by piece. No sugarcoating, no fluff, just straight talk. He ripped into the charges, but also went beyond, targeting the optics, the silence, and the overwhelming irony of it all. His commentary became more than just criticism. It turned into a blend of entertainment, satire, and sharp social commentary. Sunny Hostin's crisis didn't just make headlines, it got Roganed. And in this era of viral moments, there's no undoing that kind of takedown. This scandal just reached a whole new level, with Rogan firmly in the spotlight.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
Sunny Hostin, co-host of The View, is under intense public scrutiny after a massive $450 million federal lawsuit named her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, as a defendant. The case, one of the largest RICO filings in New York history, accuses a wide network of doctors, lawyers, and medical clinics of orchestrating a large-scale insurance fraud scheme. Dr. Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon, is alleged to have been involved in a complex operation that used staged medical treatments and kickbacks to defraud insurance companies, primarily through claims tied to taxi and rideshare drivers. Sunny Hostin has vehemently denied the accusations, calling the lawsuit baseless and politically motivated. She claims the insurance company is trying to dodge legitimate claims and has threatened a $5 million defamation countersuit. This legal battle has shifted the focus from her television work to a real-life scandal with enormous financial implications. While Joe Rogan has not publicly commented, many expect a high-profile commentator like him to highlight the case's irony, especially given Hostin's history of calling out others' ethics. With $450 million at stake and public scrutiny mounting, the spotlight on Hostin's personal life shows no signs of fading anytime soon.
The View co-host Sunny Hostin's husband, Emmanuel Hostin, has been accused of federal insurance fraud. According to a new lawsuit obtained by Page Six, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influence and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies and Uber and Lyft drivers. According to the documents, he knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgery.
Sunny Hostin's husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, is now at the center of a massive federal lawsuit accusing him and nearly 200 others of involvement in a $450 million insurance fraud scheme. The lawsuit, filed under the RICO Act, alleges widespread corruption, including kickbacks, fraudulent billing, and unnecessary medical procedures like arthroscopic surgeries. The group is accused of exploiting New York's no-fault insurance system, originally designed to quickly cover accident-related care, turning it into a lucrative money-making operation. American Transit Insurance Company filed the suit, claiming the defendants orchestrated a network of fake claims and false medical justifications to collect enormous payouts. Dr. Hostin's legal team has strongly denied the allegations, calling the lawsuit baseless and arguing the insurance company is targeting healthcare providers to avoid paying legitimate claims. Sunny Hostin, a former federal prosecutor and co-host of The View, has publicly defended her husband, labeling the lawsuit a politically motivated smear campaign. She also announced plans to countersue for defamation. As the case unfolds, it has drawn intense media attention, raising questions about legality and the impact of private scandals on public figures. This high-stakes legal battle shows how quickly personal matters can become national headlines, complicating both legal and public relations battles.
It is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested hen house.
And
Sunny Hostin's public image has been shaken by a scandal no one saw coming. Her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, now faces a massive $450 million RICO lawsuit accusing him of involvement in one of the most complex insurance fraud schemes in recent history. The allegations detail a sprawling operation involving fake medical procedures, shell companies, and kickbacks disguised as dividends. This isn't just financial mismanagement, it's alleged organized crime, grabbing headlines nationwide. Enter Joe Rogan. Known for his no-holds-barred style, Rogan turned the scandal into a sharp critique of media hypocrisy. He pointed out the stark contrast between Sunny's composed, justice-driven TV persona and the serious accusations surrounding her family. His commentary was classic Rogan, blunt, sarcastic, and loaded with skepticism. He didn't just focus on the case, but called out cultural blind spots that allow public figures to escape scrutiny until it's too late. Sunny Hostin has fought back, labeling the lawsuit frivolous and announcing plans for a defamation countersuit. But in today's fast-moving public arena, the court of public opinion often speaks louder than the legal system. Whether she's ultimately cleared or not, the damage to her reputation has already made waves online.
Whoopi Goldberg said?
What'd she say?
Whoopi Goldberg said that Biden could arrest all the Republicans and put them in jail. You just need to see how unhinged this kind of thinking is. Well, you know what Joe Biden could do? Joe Biden, you have to see it, because it's so
on TV.
crazy.
She said
on television.
This situation is a classic case of guilt by association, supercharged by the public's endless hunger for scandal. People can't look away when the so-called untouchable elite get exposed. And watching Joe Rogan mercilessly dismantle the whole drama only intensifies the frenzy. The real irony? This saga shines a glaring light on media hypocrisy. Sunny Hostin, known for her fierce commentary on justice and morality, now finds her own story flipped upside down. Rogan's sharp critique cuts to the core of the absurdity. How can someone who preaches integrity so loudly avoid scrutiny when their spouse is allegedly involved in one of the largest fraud schemes in recent history? The contrast practically begs for ridicule, and Rogan delivers with relentless sarcasm and unfiltered honesty. But this isn't just a private family mess. It sparks a wider debate about accountability in media, the blurry lines between personal and public life, and the harsh reality that public figures face when their private affairs become headline news. Joe Rogan nails this cultural moment, reminding everyone that no one, no matter how polished or outspoken, is safe from scrutiny. In today's world, being a champion of truth means being ready for the spotlight to turn back on you.
Behar, whatever her name is, as like a news source.
Did you have a stroke? No. This is the most important part.
I don't know.
Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest fucking statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife out, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't
the
believe
other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
weigh.
there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles.
The real kicker? Joe Rogan's relentless style cuts through the usual political spin and PR damage control, delivering raw honesty that hits hard. His no-holds-barred takedown is why his commentary connects so deeply with audiences. Rogan spares no one, calling out media privilege, blatant criminality, and society's endless appetite for scandal. People love watching the mighty fall, especially when their downfall is as dramatic as this one. Rogan transforms what could have been a dry, tangled legal mess into an electrifying spectacle, like watching a slow-motion train wreck from the best seat, popcorn in hand. But beneath the humor and savage roasting lies a serious question about justice and accountability. When someone close to a major media figure faces such serious allegations, the court of public opinion moves faster than any courtroom, and reputations become fragile. He forces viewers to confront a tough reality. Fame and influence offer no shield from the consequences of massive crimes. If anything, they intensify the spotlight, making every mistake impossible to hide. Rogan's brutal breakdown reminds us all that in today's world, no one, not even the powerful or famous, is truly above facing the fallout from their actions.
Guys, this is why we need to seriously have a long, lengthy conversation about healthcare in the United States of America. This is basically it. So Sunny Hostin's husband was basically charged with insurance fraud. What he was doing was doing like fraudulent surgeries and then overcharging the insurance companies for them. This is what this is. So now, of course, he's now being named along with about 200 other individuals in a federal RICO charge case. Racketeering type of thing.
So where does this leave everyone involved? For the accused, a long, grueling legal battle lies ahead, with everything at stake: freedom, fortune, and reputation. For Sunny Hostin, it's a public relations nightmare of epic proportions. She now faces the tough challenge of navigating fierce public scrutiny while standing by her husband. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan has firmly established himself as the fearless media critic who calls out uncomfortable truths no matter how close to home they hit. The fallout from this scandal will echo for months, maybe even years, as court dates approach and new revelations emerge. The public will stay glued to their screens, hungry for the next twist in this real-life drama. Throughout it all, Rogan's sharp, unapologetic commentary will cut through the noise, reminding everyone that no scandal is too big for brutal honesty, and a healthy dose of sarcasm. Rogan didn't just steer the conversation, he shattered the usual media haze like a wrecking ball in a glass house. His blunt honesty resonates because it exposes the frustrating double standards protecting the elite. When a scandal this massive breaks, the public demands more than gossip. They demand accountability. Rogan's refusal to accept vague private excuses strikes a nerve in a culture tired of special treatment for the powerful.
It's not really their audience. Their audience is a group of people they bring in to watch television shows. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen audiences before for TV shows, but a lot of them are paid. They're paid to be there. So, because they have to guarantee that there's going to be people there. So there's services that you hire. And when a show gets really, really popular, you know, like Letterman or something like that, obviously it has its own fan base.
Right.
Those people will try to get tickets before anybody else does. And in that case, they probably don't need to use a service anymore. They just get actual fans. But arguably, like, the fans, the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. Like, they're probably immobile.
There's something deeply satisfying about watching someone unapologetically call out the hypocrisy at play. Joe Rogan is holding up a mirror to an audience tired of carefully crafted PR spins and the polite silence that often follows when the rich and famous get caught red-handed. With $450 million on the line, the public isn't interested in sugarcoating or pretending this is just a minor mistake. They demand transparency, the kind that strips away polished facades and reveals the messy truth beneath. This isn't just Rogan's personal opinion, it's a cultural moment capturing widespread frustration. Beyond the flashy headlines and viral clips, his commentary voices a collective call for the elite to stop expecting free passes and start facing real consequences. When reputations and fortunes this massive are at stake, there's no room for half measures or polite avoidance. Justice should be blind, not selectively so. And here's the kicker: the public's appetite for brutal honesty is insatiable. In a world where filtered images no longer convince, people crave raw, unfiltered takes that expose scandals while letting them smirk at the absurdity of it all. Rogan's sharp honesty meets that demand perfectly.
In fairness, though, I mean, The View has to be, if you average out The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin.
You think it's deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on for sure. I don't think Sunny's dumb, but Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked, and you went on stage with it, and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go. Joe Rogan's take perfectly satisfies the public's craving for raw, unfiltered truth. With sharp wit and ruthless clarity, he slices through the layers of media spin like a hot knife through butter. As the dust from the explosive $450 million RICO case begins to settle, the aftershocks promise to be massive. This media firestorm won't fade quietly. It's gearing up to roar even louder, driven by courtroom drama, shifting public opinion, and a flood of reactions from every corner of culture. The legal battle ahead looks set to be a drawn-out saga, packed with enough twists and turns to captivate even the most jaded viewers. Expect waves of new revelations, awkward spotlight moments, and a relentless media circus feeding the public's insatiable hunger for scandal, justice, and irony. Every court filing, snarky social media post, and uncomfortable silence will add fuel to the fire. Rogan's savage takedown is no one off. It's just the opening act. The big question remains, when will this house of cards finally collapse? And who will be left standing once the smoke clears? This saga is far from over, and Rogan's roasting is only just heating up. Stay tuned.